Hello everyone, Onlydraven here again, and today we're doing another tutorial in Minecraft Sky Factory 4. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make and use a structure builder, which is an amazingly useful little box that will let you make different buildings, shapes, walls, and such automatically. Now, if you find this video helpful and you like it, please be sure to click like. Most importantly, please remember to hit subscribe and that little bell so you can get notifications whenever our videos and tutorials come out. All right. So, a couple things we're going to use for this build. The structure builder itself is going to be 3 pieces of obsidian, 2 redstone, a dispenser, magma block, and 2 observers. We're also going to use a GPS, which is just a stick, a paper, and a light blue dye. For this, the structure builder does require an RF power source. I'm just using a creative energy battery, but any power source will work. Generator, solar, anything that you'd like to use. Let's grab ourselves a couple components. So here's the structure builder. I've already grabbed some GPS. We're going to connect this down so it has power. There we go. And you'll see that immediately it's showing 3 dark squares. Let's talk about how this sets up. So by default, it's in required redstone. It doesn't automatically start placing. You can turn it to always on, or you can have required redstone so you can control it with a lever or button or something of that choice. This is the preview rendered. As you can see, those boxes disappeared. Click it back on and they come back. This shows you what it's going to build when it builds it. Next we have up here, we have the height and we have the size. So both of these will go up to 64. If I go all the way up to 64, you'll see that now it's going to build a 64 block high wall at 3 out, where the bottom one is. A 64 is a 64 by 64 block. You can see that's a huge space that it's covering. As long as it has the material fed to it to build that, it will build it for you. And you could do it, of course, different heights, different levels. Now it's just one long row. It's whatever you need to have. Okay? Now underneath dictates what shapes it is. And by default, it's just a wall. That's what we're looking at here. Now, if we were to do a square, you'll see now that it does a square of blocks at 1 level high and 3. So 3 away from it and 1 block high. Now, this one's important because you notice that the builder is in the middle of this block. That's important when you're building. We'll touch a bit more on that in a moment. Now, there's also a solid square, which is now in front of it. You can do a solid level of 1 by 3. Diagonal, which is the same as the wall, but now it's going on a diagonal block from it. Pyramid, an actual pyramid. And that size can be drastically increased should you want it to. You see here, that's a huge pyramid that was just built, if we were to build that. Then we have circle, so just a circle. We have circle vertical. Now, if you could see through the floor here, you'd see that it goes all the way underneath it as well. Sphere, which this is now a full ball. Again, it's going underneath the wood. If it had the space, it would be building it. Again, remember, notice that these ones have the builder in the center of the shape. We have dome, which now this is just like the sphere, but there's no underneath. So it's just the top half of it. And then you have the cup, which is an upside dome. Basically just a little bowl. So you can increase the size of these anything you'd like. Let's say sphere, and we'll crank it up to this. Probably seen, if you're ever in the Lost Cities, you've seen glass domes. This would very much, as you can see, create this sphere all the way around, as long as it has the supplied amount, that amount of blocks, which, as you can imagine, would take a lot. So let's just do a small one, just as an example. Okay, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to grab cobblestone. Right? Instead of the sphere, go ahead and go back to wall. We'll say we're going to build it 3 by 4. All I have to do is feed it some materials, which you see it'll hold a bunch. And all I have to do is hit requires redstone. Or if I had a lever or something, I could flip that, which would build that wall. Now, this is much more useful for the larger things we saw, like the spheres and the domes and things of that nature, something larger in scale. There is no back button. Once you build it, it is built. Now, the importance of the GPS, which I mentioned a few moments ago. The GPS can be used to have this build at a location other than where it is. Show you what I mean. Go ahead and grab ourselves just stone here. Say I put down a block of stone right there, and I sync a GPS to it. If I take this GPS over and put it inside of my structure builder, now you'll see that it's building it over here. The two very important things to remember when using the GPS. Number one, the GPS location that you set is what the structure builder is going to consider where it would be. As you can see, I synced it to this stone, and it built in front of it as if this stone was the structure builder. So when you're GPSing a location, you're GPSing a location where you would have the structure builder be. The second thing to remember is the structure builder can only build pointing the same direction it is. So even GPS, if I wanted this to go, say the wall going this way, I would have to turn this or use the diagonal option because it's only going to build in front of the direction this is. So if I had this one here, it'll only build forward. If I put it as square, this is why I said pay attention that sometimes it's in the middle, because this is assuming this is where the GPS is. So you have to be very conscious of that when you're building, that the GPS is synced to the location that the builder would be should you have it in that location, which you don't. You have it way over here. But we'll pretend that that is taking the place of the builder. Now this is really handy because, again, you can automate all sorts of things with this. If you want to build a large circle or dome or wall and you don't want to do it manually, this is a great machine for doing that. You can make some massive sized things. See, look at this giant square here. All I would have to do is just keep feeding it cobblestone and it will keep building it. Give an example here. Pull this down. Make this a little bit smaller. All right. That's a pretty big square, right? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it on. Now you'll notice it only built up to the point that it had enough cobblestone. If I feed in more, it will continue the building process. So if I had to say hooked up to a cobblestone generator, this could then continue on to just build and build until the shape that I wanted is complete. And there we have our wall. So being able to supply it the amount of materials you need is a very important part of being able to use this block. But it is amazing when you want to build some very large-sized structures. Now, I'm going to show you one other thing. With it being left on, it will continue to build that same thing again, should the blocks disappear. When I break this, it's going to try to continue building that. I'm going to vein mine it. As you can see, it immediately started building again. And it will do so until it runs out of material. There we are. It ran out, so that's as far as it can go. I point this out because it is possible to use this to automate the building of certain processes. I'm going to be showing that in a future video, how to use this to build several different handy processes that will help you automate other things. But the structure builder itself is phenomenal, wonderful block. Just remember the key things, that the GPS is synced to the location of where the structure builder would have been had you moved it to the GPS location. And again, you can sit in here and fiddle with all these. It does use power, but as long as it has power and it has a steady source of whatever material you're trying to build with, cobblestone, glass, cement, anything, it will continue to build until your structure is complete. And if you're tired of seeing that little preview, you could turn it off and it'll just sit there ready for your next project. All right. So that's going to do it for this tutorial. If you have any questions about this tutorial or any of my tutorials, please be sure to put those down in the comments and I'll do my very best to get back with you as soon as I can, as well as any recommendations or suggestions you may have for other tutorials you'd like to see in Sky Factory 4. I'm always looking for new ideas. You can also go to my website, OnlydravenGaming, and there at the bottom of the homepage is a place that you could submit questions or suggestions or feedback via email. While you're there, you'll also find links to all my tutorials and videos, streaming schedule, links to social media accounts, and of course the ODG store for some cool OnlydravenGaming merchandise. There's a lot of great stuff on the website. I'd love it if you'd check it out. That is going to do us for today. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.